Welcome to Nailed It, a podcast featuring business tips from industry leaders, presented by Clever Punch. Here's your host, Jade Flogerzi.
Welcome back. On today's episode of Nailed It, we're sitting down with Karan Dhilon, owner of the Contractors Coach. So Karan is a consultant and mentor of behavioral change, and he's changed the lives of hundreds of business owners through his proven process that teaches business owners how to run their business like the CEO. He offers one-on-one executive coaching, and he helps owners with three vital components that every business owner needs to conquer the chaos. First, key strategies that free up their time and help them make more money while working less hours. Second, how to recruit and manage an effective team. And third, how to implement systems to give business owners more freedom. And his coaching works. Most of his clients double their revenue within 12 to 18 months of working with the Contractors Coach, but that's really the minimum. You can see video testimonials on his website of his clients achieving well beyond that. But before founding the Contractors Coach, Karan trained sales teams at Fortune 500 companies, including Motorola, Oracle, PeopleSoft, Massage Envy. Then he started helping the contractors improve their sales, but he quickly realized sales is just one aspect of running a successful business, and they really needed more help to achieve their dreams. And so the Contractors Coach was formed in 2008, and he works alongside two other master coaches. Karan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Jade.
So today's episode is going to help anyone who's running a business and is burnt out, stressed out, doesn't know where to look for help. And it's going to help especially people that are in the construction industries, especially contractors. So because this is going to help you learn what a business coach can do and how they can help you, we're going to dive into the nuts and bolts of what is a coach? Why should I work with a coach? How will they benefit me? How do I work with them? And Karan has agreed to come on our show and let me have free reign at just asking him any questions I want and uncovering kind of and demystifying this role of a business coach. So a little backstory, a little context. Karan and I worked together in the past. You're probably maybe the first real introduction I had to a business coach role. And I learned so much. I'm so grateful for being able to work with you because through osmosis of your content, I learned so much about owning a business, running a business, and just insights into all the tips and knowledge that you share with your clients. So getting into what it's like to have your role and work with the clients that you do. Let's start out with talking about the kinds of problems that a business coach can help with.
The biggest problems that a business coach solves is really the frustration that a business owner has, where they are looking to create a certain type of result. And most of the time, that result is in the type of life they want to lead. Right? Because we all talk about business coaches and we say, oh yeah, we should help with business. But the point of a business isn't just the work of the business. The point of a business is to have the business create the type of life that you really enjoy living, right? Because otherwise just go be an employee. And the biggest frustration people have is that their business is not giving them that life. In fact, it's giving them a life that's really detrimental to their well-being. And that's a puzzle for most people. People have two responses. One is, well, that's just how business is. You just work hard, you grind, and then you make some money, and then you do it again. Isn't that just what business is? I just don't want to work for someone else. That's why I do this, right? That's just self-deception, right? Because that's not what a business is. Or the other one is they just don't know any different. They're like, I have no idea how to change this. And so as a business coach, that's where we are the most effective, when someone gets to a point where they're like, there's got to be a better way. And that's when people come to us at that point, that's when we can be the most effective in showing them, look, your business is a tool. It is a tool to give you the life that you want, a life that has an abundance of time, money, and energy. So in a nutshell, that's the outcome.
When a business owner comes to you, like you said, that's when you can really step in and start to help them. What do you see typically their business looks like, or what do they tell you? What do you see in their role and how they're running things, or just what the day-to-day looks like?
What we see is that a business owners, typically they come to us past the 7-figure mark. So they've crossed the $1 million mark. Their business is functioning. They've got a team of people, things are happening. They've got projects. However, they've sort of pushed it to the maximum ability that they have of creating a business. Most people that we work with are good at their trade. They're very skilled. They produce quality work. Their clients love them. And that's why their business has grown, right? They've got a good reputation. However, it's grown to a point where now they're pulled in so many directions that it's impossible for them to actually keep everything, keep all the plates spinning. And so that's kind of the space where we can show them, I give the example of a mom and pop coffee shop versus a Starbucks, right? They're very different companies. I mean, obviously, you're not trying to build a Starbucks. Not everybody wants to be that big, but the fundamental principles are exactly the same. That a business should be built on systems, have a team that's trained on using those systems, and you as the owner step back and manage the company versus be the guy that works in it all the time.
So they come to you, or you hear from people reach out, business owners reach out when typically they're past that $1 million mark in annual revenue. They've gotten as far as they can. And then what's happening? Are they out of time? Is it an energy situation? Are they burnt out, stressed out? Are they stuck from a financial standpoint and they want to keep growing?
Well, the answer is yes, right? Because that's all of those three things are the things that cause people frustration. They're like, hey, look, I'm working 16 hours, right? I get up in the morning. I'm the lead sales guy. I got to go follow up on all the clients. Then I have to go and deal with problems in the field. Then I have to deal with customer issues. Then I have to go back in the office at the end of the day. And then I have to do these estimates, right? Or I have to chase the estimating people who are not producing these things on time. Then I have to get up and do this thing all over again. And then I bring new people in and they say they can do this, but they can't. I don't have any time to train them. And you talk about systems, like what systems are these? Who has time to build these systems, right? And then if you're lucky enough to be in a market where your business is growing, your current revenue cannot support the growth of the business. The truth in business is a fast-growing companies go bankrupt the fastest because the cash flow from a $2 million business cannot support a $5 million project. And if you don't understand what the growth curve is of a business, the faster you grow, the higher your financial risks are. And people don't understand that.
So you help contractors. It's the Contractors Coach. I was just talking about this yesterday because we did a lunch and learn for a group of realtors. And we've found in the clients that we serve that everybody wants to be a unique individual and they want their business to be so different. But at the end of the day, certain personalities fall into certain industries. So real estate agents, there's commonalities there. In marketing, I like to think we're all this unique group of individuals, but our team has so much in common. It's silly. What do you see with contractors? What are those standout common issues that contractors tend to have? What are the problems that they tend to have that you can help with?
Well, obviously, as a business owner, one of the things that you have as a trait is that you are independent. You don't want others telling you what to do. And you think you can do this on your own, right? That's what causes somebody to quit being an employee or just never want to be an employee and go out and do your own thing, which is great. It's great to get started. It's great to get to a certain point. But then that's the mindset of self-employment. Most contractors in the world are self-employed people. Basically, they're an owner with a few helpers, maybe 10, 15, 20 people. They're not business owners because the fundamental difference between a self-employed person and a business is that a business does not need the time of the owner to grow. And so most people don't understand that because they're like, what do you mean? As a business owner, am I not supposed to be the hardest working person? And the real truth is that if you're the hardest working person, the only reason is because you don't have systems and you are the substitute for the lack of systems and trained team. So essentially you're just doing, 5, 6, 10 people's jobs because you just don't have that built in.
You don't have that skill set, but you can help with that. And don't you find too that there's a common myth or misconception that here's where I'm at with my business, if I want it to grow, that means I'm going to have to work harder or work more hours?
Yes, bingo. You just nailed it. And this is the biggest misconception that people have. They're like, hey, I'm making, $2 million. I'm working 14 hours a day. You're telling me I should grow to 4 million. I don't have that much time. And the truth is that the only way you can double the size of your business is if you figure out how to get a business to work with zero involvement on your part on a day-to-day basis. Because there's only 24 hours in the day.
Absolutely. And it has to be possible because we see examples of that all around us. We see business owners that own multiple companies. So, and they're maybe coming into the board meeting once a month. So if they can do it, why can't you? And that's what you can help them with, that skill set, with implementing those skills and learning how to be the CEO of their company.
No, exactly right. Yeah. I mean, most CEOs are not the guys, swinging hammers in the field.
Right. So in my conversations with people about business coaches, like I said, I'm a huge advocate for having a business coach relationship. It's proven in successful businesses that there's always a complement of skills. So whether that is two partners, sometimes it's husband, wife, I haven't seen that, sometimes that works, but you could also be a business owner and have a business coach. So that could be the complement to your strengths of somebody to hold you accountable, to help complement what you are good at, to bring in another fresh perspective. But when I chat with people, their perception of a business coach is all over the place, swinging anywhere from, I don't need a therapist, like that's how they picture the relationship,
right,
to, yeah, that sounds good because I really need someone to look at the numbers.
Right, yeah.
How would you describe the relationship that you have with your clients?
So, I think you nailed it. Those are the two misconceptions we run into. They're like, hey, can you just look at my numbers? Because I'm not good at with my numbers, or I don't need this life coaching, where my life is going and who I want to be, And I'm like, yeah, those are great, but none of that is business coaching, right? Business coaching it's a very focused process around building the life you want and using your business as a tool to get there. And that's a very different process than what most people think. I mean, if your mom wasn't good to you, that's fine. Go see a therapist for that, right? If you want to understand your numbers, get a bookkeeper and an accountant. They're much better at that than you, right? And because your job as an owner is to take charge of the process. And the most important process that you have is the life that you're living, which is, why do you have this business in the first place? Actually, this is really the key about business coaching, is to get you to answer a question. Why do you have this business in the first place? Why didn't you go work for the post office? Just walk around, deliver letters, go home, get up in the morning, do it again. It's much simpler. Business ownership has hassles, risks, blah, blah, right? So the question you have to ask yourself really is, why do I have this business? And if, once you get past, I got to pay bills, I got to keep busy, whatever it is, I like construction, all of those are the shallow answers. But finally, when you get to the real truth is that the reason you have a business is because you know at the back of your mind that if I get this thing to work right, I can create a much better life for myself and my family than I could ever do working for somebody else. That's why you have the business. The challenge is the real reason why you have a business goes out the window when the problems in the business show up. And then people just become like the hardest working employee in their own company. So they basically are running a business with the mindset of an employee.
Absolutely.
Right? And the chances of that going right are pretty low.
Right. And that's why they need help, is it's only gotten them so far.
Yeah. The biggest thing with business coaching is the mindset shift.
How is that received? Because when you tell me that, I'm like, absolutely. It is a mindset shift. But do you have challenges working through people accepting that and how they work through that?
Before coaching, they're like, what do you mean? Like, don't you have to go work on my business? Don't I need to don't you want to sit down with me, show me the spreadsheet, tell me like the recruiting process, what is the marketing strategy? Don't I hire a salespeople and train these guys? Shouldn't I hold people accountable? All that type of stuff. I'm like, yes. Well, why haven't you done any of that so far? You know all that, right? And there's a reason for it. And the reason is that there are fundamental principles in life. And the principles are, we're all trying to create results, right? Where do results come from? They come from our actions, our behavior. Our behavior create our results. We all know that. And then we try to change our behavior. It's like trying to lose weight, go to the gym. But we know 3 months later what happens to most people, right? Yeah, they pay this donation to the gym every month. They don't go. right? And the reason for that isn't because they're lazy, they don't know what to do. It's because our behavior is driven by something else, and that is our mindset, which is what we think determines what we do. What we do determines what we get. And so most people just keep focusing downstream. They never get to the cause of what is actually creating the life they're living. And so when we explain this to people, they get it, even though they're puzzled by it. But most of them are, at least once they have a conversation with us, are willing to give it a shot.
What you just said about the gym reminded me of something that we discussed in the past about your experience working in coaching and in sales. So like I mentioned in the intro, you've worked with Fortune 500 companies before, helped sales teams, gone into huge expos, conference centers, and done the rah, 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 Tony Robbins kind of style. And I remember you sharing that as exciting as that was, it wasn't very satisfying because you knew that as excited as people were in that conference, they were going to go home and not implement any changes in their life. And that was a big motivating factor for you to realize, if I'm really going to help people, it needs to be in a different capacity. Like if it's going to have lasting impact on their lives and their business, it needs to be different. And that was kind of the shift, moving towards sales for contractors, and then realizing they actually need more than that and forming the Contractors Coach. Why do you think what you do works so well, which is an ongoing, a one-to-one executive business coaching relationship that is going to be, at least 12 months to start seeing the results? Why do you think that is effective?
I think it's because of the process you described, is that a lot of the workshops, conferences, Tony Robbins, and I'm not knocking these things, right? They're good information, but their purpose is very different. Their purpose is to increase your energy level. Because when you go in these things, you go in and you feel great. Your energy level's high. You're like, woohoo, I can conquer the world. But nothing has changed. You just feel good. That's all. Like you didn't learn how to fly a plane because you start feeling good, right? And that's the thing is these conferences are designed, it's almost like a drug where you go there, you feel great, you come back, after 3-4 days, your energy level comes back to where it was, you feel crappy, then you're like, oh, that felt good, I need to go back again. And so it's designed to get to people come to these things over and over and over again, but you're never getting anywhere because you haven't changed anything. And so what I realized is that the thing that needs to happen is, yes, you got to help people raise their energy level. There's no question. But along with that, you have to raise their awareness level of why they're getting the results they're getting. And then give them the tools that actually give them the real world implementation steps to create the results they're looking to create. It's like you meet people like that, who boost you up, they'll jack you up. They're like, woohoo, yeah, you feel great. But then there's nothing after that. And then you also have the accountants and the bookkeepers, and they'll be like, yes, these are your results, blah, blah, blah. But they're not telling you how to change them, right?
You need something in the middle.
Yeah, there's like this huge thing, it's like, where's the beef? Like, where's the real deal? You got the top and the bottom bun.
Yeah, you're just left with icing your feet because you walked over hot coals at your Tony Robbins event. Biggest question people are going to be wondering if they haven't worked with a coach before is, well, let me ask you first, how often do you meet with your client and on what capacity? Is it in person? Is it over the phone?
Well, we used to do it in person. COVID changed everything. And so everything's done, just like this, like a Zoom call. So we meet people once a week for an hour. And, there's a structured process. They get their assignments for the week. They go do them. They meet with a coach again the following week for an hour over Zoom. And then you evaluate what worked, what didn't, what needs to change. And, this is all done like with a 6-part structure over the course of a year, designed to get you through the whole process that we talked about. Mindset, awareness, get your goals in place, get your 1-year goal, 90-day action plan, then get your numbers, look at your numbers, see what has worked, what hasn't worked, what needs to change. And you repeat the cycle until a point where you yourself are a different human being by the end of it. And therefore, your company will reflect that. So the point is that your business is a reflection of you as the owner. That's it. And so trying to fix the business is like trying to fix the reflection in the mirror, like by changing the mirror. It's much easier to just change the person whose reflection it is.
Absolutely. The biggest question people are going to wonder is, if they haven't worked with a coach yet, is what does it cost?
So yeah, we have three different levels depending on what you're trying to do. We have a level at 2,500 where we're working with the individual, the business owner. And then we have group coaching for the team as well, because sometimes the owners have to go coach and they're like, this is hard. So we bring the team in, we bring them at 3,500. And then there's a time where we actually have the CEO of a company that we work with. And sometimes we work with the executive team where the owner now is ready to really step back. And that's like 5,000 a month.
And if somebody's considering a coach, what should they be looking for? What questions should they be asking? And what are some red flags?
Well, the most important thing is past experience. Like, has the coach coached people before? Because that's the biggest thing that we've seen is that, there's a lot of companies, they do these, but their coaches became coaches like yesterday. So that's one thing is like, okay. And the second thing is it one-on-one or is it group coaching? Because there's basically three types of coaching. There's the gurus who will sell you the videos. The videos are great, good info, but do you have the discipline to watch this, implement it, evaluate it? I mean, if you had all that, you wouldn't need the video, right? Then the second level is group coaching. We used to do group coaching, but unfortunately, group coaching is designed to make the company money, not the client. Because we saw that the results that our clients got in group coaching were very poor, right? So you have all these big companies and they push this mass group coaching. You'll be in a group of 8 and 10. It's great business information, but you're still left with trying to figure out what to do for yourself, right? And so that's why we've stuck with a one-on-one coaching model. It's harder, obviously makes us less money, but we got plenty of it. We got plenty of clients, but the results are exponentially better. You know our clients, James, who went from $1 million to 50 million. People have gone from like $500,000 to now 10 million. So the results speak for themselves, right? And we've got at this point over a decade of this, with more than 500-600 contractors. And so it's clear the one-on-one business model is a real winner.
What you mentioned, over a decade of results and experience and clients that you've worked with. When I was preparing the introduction for our show, and I saw Contractors Coach was then formed in 2008. I think I have some trauma from that time period in our lives.
Yes.
If anybody's old enough, if anyone runs a business, they know what 2008 was like.
Oh, yeah.
So just the fact that your company was formed during that time when practically all construction companies were going out of business is a huge testament to what you have to offer and to the success that you can provide for companies. What was that like when you were first starting out?
When we started out, we didn't focus on contractors, because I've been in sales. So I followed the first rule of sales, which is what? Find people with money, right? So we were coaching lawyers, doctors, plastic surgeons, good money, but they're not the most pleasant people to work with. And then we've had 3 contractors. They heard about us and they came, we'd never worked with them before. When we worked with them, all 3 doubled in size. In fact, one did so well, he started a second business, and which was very unusual, in that environment. This is like 2008-9. And that's when we looked at it and we said, what's going on? We found the process we have works really, really well for the construction industry, but more importantly, the type of person that is a contractor, and because they eventually did start to really like the mindset piece, the business strategy, as well as the accountability that comes with coaching. And the results that we got with our clients is really what made us decide to focus on this industry. And that's when we formed the Contractors Coach.
What do you see the economy is like right now? Or do you have an idea of where things are headed right now?
Yeah, the economy is always changing. One of the things that we talk about is the economy isn't really your problem. Your problem is your performance. Because in any economy, there are winners and losers, right? Mm-hmm. And ironically, in a down economy, it's easier to be more successful, even though that's counterintuitive, if you know what you're doing. And the reason for that is that when things get hard, things tighten up, what do most people tend to do? They tend to shrink back. I got to hunker down. I got to ride this out. And if you, on the other hand, are the person that's going out there and pushing hard and, really getting yourself out there, there is still work. Yeah, there's less work, but there is still work. But who's going to get this work? The people hunkering down, or you, the person that's out there in front of everybody investing? It's like the Warren Buffett concept. You get greedy when there's blood on the streets, right? And you should be fearful when everybody else is excited. So yeah, it looks like we're going into some sort of a downturn, but now's the time to get excited. If you don't understand that, yeah, get a coach. This is exactly where you build huge businesses.
It's also, I've been thinking too about how it's just a change in pros and cons, right? So it's all too easy for, like you said, for people to blame the economy and to pull back and that be fear and scarcity. But it's just a shift of pros and cons. And when we had those COVID years, which was incredible for the construction industry, everyone's at home, working from home, changing their house, lots of government money, interest rates are nothing, so much construction and so many projects, they're turning away work. So that was the situation a couple of years ago. But think of all the problems that people had. They couldn't find enough employees. They couldn't find talent. People were walking off the jobs. You couldn't find people that were qualified to do a good job. You had supply chain issues. You can't get a fridge or an oven in for at least 18 months. Like, it was not an easy time. So it's just a shift in challenges. But now you have a better pool of candidates at your disposal. And like you said, the weaker businesses are going to die off. And it's an opportunity to stand up and to grow and to be more competitive and to stand out from everyone else, versus when it was so easy for everyone and you're trying to stand out amongst hundreds of construction companies that are all doing really well.
Yeah, I mean, I had a coach back in 2008, and he said something. He said, look, when times are good, everybody's a genius. Okay. It's when times are hard, then you find out who really knows how to run a business. And if times do become harder, yeah, focus and invest in yourself and your business, and you'll come out way ahead, when everybody wanted to do work.
Absolutely. So if anyone listening relates to what you've shared and feels like, this could be a solution for the challenges that they're facing, what would you recommend is the next steps? How can they reach out to you, or what do those first conversations look like?
Yeah, the way to reach out to us is our website, thecontractorscoach.com. And you go there, you book a 30-minute call. Most likely me or one of the coaches will get on the phone. And the goal of that call is to really understand your business, where you are, where you want to take it. And we'll share with you the business strategies that we think will make sense. And if you're a good fit, then we'll set up a longer meeting, a 90-minute meeting, where we go really in deep in your business, show you the actual strategies we will use with you, develop a financial model of the business. Because at the end of the day, a business is just a bunch of numbers. Your job as an owner is to learn how to run a business by the numbers. And so we lay that all out and we show you the programs. And if you think one's a good fit, then you pick it. And then we start working with you. And then hopefully within 12 months, you're on a video with us telling the world how well your company's done.
Amazing. Karan, thank you so much for the conversation, for helping us help other people demystify the role of a business coach, what it's like to work with a coach, how they can help you. I personally want to validate Karan and the Contractors coach and their company. This is not a paid endorsement. There's, nothing here like that. This is someone that I had the privilege of working with a few years ago. It's a real company, a real person. It's the only time I ever flew private up to San Francisco to carry out your website, your photography. And you guys, like you said, I got to go through all your clients, their testimonials, see the proof of how you help people not just change their business, but completely change their lives, create systems, create teams to get work and delegate, get things off their desk and get other people helping them so that they can get their life back and actually enjoy their time and their family and their goals and think about their retirement. So thanks for the conversation. I hope people reach out to you for you to help them.
Awesome, Jade. Thank you for having this call.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Nailed It, business tips from industry leaders, brought to you by Clever Punch. Nailed It is all about connecting with people, building relationships, and helping each other. If you're interested in connecting with any of the guests on our episodes, you can find their contact info in our show notes or on the podcast page at cleverpunchco.com. You can also email info@cleverpunchco.com with any questions or feedback. I'm your host, Jade Flogerzi. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.